in the case anyone's watching the recording of this video, welcome back to our readings. We've been on a bit of a break due to my travels. I was in Georgia, Russia, and now I'm in Mayapur, but things are settled here as far as my schedule goes. So happy to do some reading and discussion on Shastra. So Hare Krishna. So Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swanti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Vachaline Nivasesha Sunyavari Pashtatara Satanine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right, so according to my records on the YouTube thingy, we're continuing with chapter 7, one of my favorite chapters. And we finished on 7:16. Okay, so 7:16, 15 and 16. 15 is the 4 kinds of demonic or impious persons who do not surrender unto Krishna. Yeah, the miscreants who divided into 4. Yeah. And then we had Chatur Vida Bhajanti Mam, the 6 kinds of persons who do. These are pious, 6 kinds of persons who do actually come to Krishna. And Tisam Gyaninichi Yukta Eka Bhakti Vasishyate. So then we carry on with number 17, which describes about of all those, one who's in knowledge of Krishna is the best. But I thought before we do that, it's okay if I just read the verses up to where we are now?
Yes.
Are you going to share the thing on the screen, or shall I get the book?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I forgot about that. I am going to share the thing on the screen. I had it already.
It's not a thing. It's a sacred book called Bhagavad Gita.
There you go. Your request has been fulfilled. There it is.
Thank you.
So what I do, let's just go, scroll back. I can perhaps go like this. Oh no, I can't. Hare Krishna. Oh, chapter 2, Krishna. Chapter 7. Okay, so I'll just read through the verses, just the English to save time.
Yeah.
All right. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, Maya Shakta, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Okay, quite promising. No doubts. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numerous, that's spiritual and material. Thus being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Here comes Mother Rajakisha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Manusyanam sahasreshu. Okay, so not so easy to understand the truth of Krishna, the Supreme. And now Krishna begins to explain the material. Yeah, so he describes. Welcome, Avaraj Kishore, Hare Krishna. We're just having getting into reminding us of the context, the way we left off. So we're just reading the verses up to 17. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these constitute my separated material energies. So this is not the internal energy, the separated material energy. And aparasitastvanyam, then we have, besides these, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises us, the living entities. And what are we doing? We're exploiting that material inferior nature. Then All created beings have the source in these two natures of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and dissolution. Yeah, origin and dissolution. And 7. This is a beautiful verse, this one. Nice verse to remember. Mata paratanam yat kintit asti nananjaya. Mam savamidam protom shruti mana gana iva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. 8. Vasaham apsukuntaya. I am, O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water. Let me just get this. The light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in man and women. The ability in mankind. That's what, when Prabhupada mentions man, he's not being discriminating in case there's any feminists. He's speaking about mankind, which happens to include women as well. All right. So I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives. He is our very life, yeah? And I am the penance of all ascetics. So this is Krishna, who's elaborating his being the source of everything and the dissolution and everything itself. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent and the prowess of all powerful men. So the original seed of existence. And 11, I am the strength. I am strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharats, Arjuna. 12. Know that all states of being, then the concluding verse now. Know that all states of being, of those, concluding those few verses that we just read, be they goodness, passion, and ignorance, are manifested by my energy. Excuse me. I am in one sense everything. But I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Quite esoterical verse. Krishna is everything, but he remains independent and he is above everything. He is everything and he is above everything. And he is not controlled by what he creates. Whereas everyone else, deluded by the three modes, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. So there's no end. See, so to know Krishna, that means we have to be above the modes, to know him in truth. Yeah, we have to be unaffected by matter. Yeah. And 14, well-known verse. Prabhupada quoted this a lot. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but, big but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So what's very difficult becomes easy by the grace of Krishna, by Sharanam, by Sharanagati, surrendering to Krishna. Remember we looked up the 6 aspects of surrender there, right, lengthy purple. And 15. Okay, we touched upon this. Those miscreants are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. All right, and then Prabhupada gives quite a lengthy purple, and he gives a description of each of these. We won't go into it in detail, but he gives a description, quite a lengthy purple. Let me just quickly, I can't resist it. So the mudas, those who are working hard like beasts of burden, Prabhupada says, but there's no goal in life, you know. just filling their stomach, sex and filling their stomach is the goal of life. They don't question they don't question life. They just satisfying their senses, muddas. Yeah. Number 2, Naradama, lowest of mankind. Let's just quickly look here. These persons have a regulated principles of social and political life, but they have no religious principles. Okay, so they're better than the uncivilized. They have some type of social system, but it's secular. Even a religious life, but it's all to fulfill material purposes. So they're Naradhamas. Papa quite spend a bit of time there. Next is the Mayaputta. Those so-called philosophers, wise so-called philosophers and philosophies, and their knowledge has been stolen by illusion. They come up with all types of speculations. And then number 4, the Asuran Bhava Ashrupjana. These are demonics or demons or atheistic persons who openly decry God. All right. Okay, quick. 16. Or best among the Bharats, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Yeah. So Prabhupada, Krishna breaks into 4 categories. There may be persons who join for, may have 2 or 3 reasons here. But anyway, those who come to Krishna, they're pious. And here we are, text 17. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hey, let's do our usual, as someone can read. Did we say the prayers? We said the prayers. Yeah, we didn't know that. Yeah, we said that we prayed to Prabhupada.
Yeah, I can read.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, we're on this one, yeah. Te samgyani nitya yukta eka bhakti risisyate priyo hi jani no tartan aham sacha mama priya. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am dear to him and he is dear to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Free from all contaminations of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the 4 orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material amelioration, and the man in knowledge all become themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, any questions or comments on this? Sometimes it's misunderstood because we're quite trained. We have these 3 terms: the Kami, the Gani, and the Bhakta. So whenever we see the word Gani, we become, this is the speculator. Yeah. But this is not that type of Gani. This is a devotee, who's full of knowledge of Krishna. Yeah. And they're not approaching Krishna for anything in return because they're in full knowledge and they're engaged in loving devotional service. Yeah. Whereas the other three, they are coming for something, for some exchange. Yeah. So this is someone who has a divya gyan, has knowledge. So that knowledge leads them to engage in loving devotional service to Krishna. Yeah. So Krishna says that person is very dear to him. I'm very dear to him, and he is very dear to me. So yeah. Let me just read here. Krishna here tells us that the Jnani is the best because the Jnani is free from material desires. Okay, so this is the Bhakti Jnani, so the Bhakta who has knowledge. The other three types of pious souls are also great because they turn to Krishna. But then mentions here about what often may happen when someone gets their material desires fulfilled.
And they forget about praying to Krishna because
Yeah.
they wanted.
Yeah, often they leave Krishna's service once their distress is alleviated or their material desires are fulfilled.
Just one question, Brew.
Yeah.
It says like the person who's in full knowledge and free from material desires is like a pure devotee. But
Yeah.
and then the other one is devotional service is the best. But someone who's like in full knowledge and doesn't do devotional service, it doesn't make sense because if you are in full knowledge, you would do devotional service because you realize that is the key.
Yeah, you lost me there. You're saying someone who does have.
Someone who's in full knowledge, you would think they would realize, oh, actually, I should be doing devotional service. But it
Yeah.
seems like here saying it's someone who can be in full knowledge, and it doesn't say they're doing devotional service here. It says someone who's in full knowledge and doing devotional service is the best. So what is the Jnani doing then? Is he not doing devotional service?
I don't know if I kind of for me it says someone who's in full knowledge, and that full knowledge is accompanied by pure devotional service. Whereas the Jnani who has knowledge for knowledge's sake, which doesn't lead him to devotion, actually, objectively, or that person hasn't come to full knowledge, basically, because full knowledge means that one, as in this chapter explains, everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is manifested by Krishna. Everything is sustained by Krishna's energy. Everything phenomenal and numinous. I think the next verse describes. Then the result of that, there's one is going to surrender to Krishna. So I think there's a bit of a cross understanding from your question there, Mother. Because as far as I can understand, what's being described here is that someone who is in full knowledge is engaged in pure devotional service. Is that?
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking, like, I was just confused because it said someone who is in knowledge of the absolute and free from material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. Okay, yes, so he's not quite there.
Okay, yeah. So just say that sentence again. Let's be clear on this.
But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. I didn't see the becomes bit. I was thinking I thought it said he is a really pure devotee of the Lord. So I was wondering why someone like, and then it says And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and at the same time engaged in devotional service of the Lord is the best. Yeah, I see there's a difference there. Sorry, I didn't see a difference before, but I can see the difference now,
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes sense. I don't know what I'm thinking today. My mind must be like totally on it.
No problem.
I don't know.
Yeah. And it kind of also to be considered is that the other three, they eventually come to this stage of being in knowledge of Krishna. And then with devotee association, by practicing the principles of bhaktis with sincerity and strictly, even though they come to Krishna to fulfill material desires, being by developing in knowledge, they will give up those material desires. Yeah.
Sorry, I think Guy is waiting to come into the group.
Okay. Also, yeah.
Gayatri.
Oh,
I think she's waiting.
she has to change her name. Hare Krishna, Mother Gayatri. Congratulations on your initiation.
Thank you, Prabhu. Please bless me.
Wow, sounds like you've been blessed already. Been blessed by Prahladananda Maharaj, initiated on Zoom. Well done, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Never too many blessings.
Yeah, Chandravali Mataji, thank you so much. Grateful.
Very good.
Thank you, Jai.
Yeah, without getting too distracted, I had lunch with Niranjana Swami the other day, along with Shivaram Raj.
Wow.
Very nice.
Oh, thank you so, Prabhu. Did you tell anything about me?
No, unfortunately. Actually, I walked with Niranjana Swami because I took him back to his where he's staying, and I just to make sure he didn't fall over. Then I had my arm tucked in his arm, and I was
oh my God,
nice.
nice.
Yeah, I was telling him about Georgia because I was in Georgia.
Oh my God, thank you. I hope you told him how good a devotee I am.
Next time, if I do get a personal conversation with him, then I shall mention that I know one of your disciples in London.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my messengers. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So welcome back, Hare Krishna. We're on the, you can see here, it's on your screen. Yeah. 7:17. Yeah, what was I saying?
About coming knowledge, but not being engaged.
Yeah, so just like even in material life, we have a certain material desires, and then we're desiring a certain thing. But then we stop desiring that, and we desire something else. Even on the material platform, although we always desire something material, the object of what we desire can often change, or sometimes it doesn't as well. Like, for instance, a lusty person is always thinking to enjoy their senses, But, we have varieties of desires, and they change according to what how and what we associate with in the material world, although it's still a material desire. So in much the same way, as we develop spiritual knowledge, and not only spiritual knowledge and knowledge's sake, but we develop realization, and we get the param drishna navartate. We experience something very sublime in chanting Hare Krishna. So therefore, we can give up what we used to desire before. Or if it's one of these four, or one of these three, coming to Krishna seeking for wealth, or etc. Then by realizing the beauty of Krishna and relishing the association of devotees, then we realize that becoming wealthy is not the goal of life. Actually, the goal of life is to develop loving association with the bhaktas and to engage in loving devotional service. So you understand? So there's a transformation. There should be a transformation. Okay, we come to Krishna for something in return, except the person who's coming in full knowledge of Krishna. Yeah. But then there should be transformation. I think I often say that the reason we come to Krishna consciousness is not the reason why we should stay in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. We come because we're come under one of these three categories. But then we should stay because we feel affection and love for Krishna. Yeah, and even if we face the difficulties of the material world, then we still continue with our devotion. Yeah, that's called a pure devotee. But the point I'm making here as well, that these, or we mentioned, I'm just going to these three I'm speaking about in this verse here. These three here, they all have to come to this stage of being in knowledge of Krishna. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? Yeah, just looking here, but in the pre-Bharatri stage, in the pre-Bharatri, how am I pronouncing? I'm pronouncing that wrong, isn't it? In the pre-Bharatri, how do you pronounce it?
Preparatory.
Yeah,
Before pre-prep.
Yeah, I've been away from England for too long. Can't pronounce words now.
Can you came back?
So perhaps this is what Mother Luranga was also asking to, in some way or another. So in the beginning stage, the one who's in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear. All right, so they're in full knowledge, but they perhaps may not be the level of bhava or prema, but still they're very dear to the Lord. And they're situated in pure knowledge. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of Krishna is protected in devotional service, is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. Wow. Sounds good, isn't it? Not to be touched by material contamination. Wow. That comes from knowledge of Krishna. Realized knowledge. All right. Anything else we can churn from here? Otherwise, we can go to text 18. Udara sava iveti gana tatapmevatam astita sadiyuktatmamam eva anutamam gatim. All right. So there's a question here. After hearing text 17, one may conclude that the Karma Mishra Bhaktas, okay, so these three others, they're known as Karma Mishra Bhaktis. So their bhakti is Mishra, it's mixed, okay, with some selfish desire. So one may conclude that the others are insignificant and that only the devotee in knowledge is important. So then Krishna speaks the next verse to make it clear, no, they're all very dear to me. So this is text 18. All right, so we might get okay, someone like to read?
Shall I read? Can I read?
Yeah, your voice is very faint.
Oh, I see.
Sounds like you're on a radio station.
Okay. Someone else can read.
Yeah, perhaps someone else can read and see if you can sort out your... Sounds like a fighter jet.
Okay.
All right, someone else can read?
I can read.
Yes, Gayatri.
Can you
Wonderful
see
name.
the Sanskrit?
Oh, that's still there. All right. Wait a minute. It might be... 1 second. Oh my God. Okay.
It's like
So
a
yeah,
cat
that
fight.
noise. I've just muted Radhika Kishore. I think she's in a fighter jet. Okay. Okay,
Can we
Mother
see the
Gayatri.
Sanskrit?
Yeah, sorry, let me go back. There it is.
Thank you. Okay. Uddara sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam astita sahi yuktatma mam eva nutamam gatim. Translation. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but one who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Purport. It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma, or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit, and when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord, because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.468, the Lord says, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham mat anyat tena jnananti naham tebhyo manag api.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. So I'll ask a question here. This verse comes from what particular pastime? Ninth canto. Is to do with two personalities. One is a Gyani, actually, and one is a Bhakta.
Maharaj Amri and Vyasa Muni.
Yeah, correct. Mars Ambarish and the Vasamuni. Okay, you have to mute now, Maharaj, be sure there's some disturbance coming from yeah. So we all know that pastime. Basically, it's quite a well-known pastime in the ninth canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Ambarish is a great, described in Bhagavad Gita, a great Mahapara devotee. And he was protected by the anger, he was protected from the anger of the Vasamuni by the Sudarshan Chakra. Yeah. And which gave chase to him. Eventually, to cut the wonderful story short, he went to Narayan, Vishnu, and Vishnu said, there's not much I can do. You have to go to Ambarish Maharaj. And did I get Ambarish? Yeah. And surrender and apologize to him for your trying to kill him. And then he describes how dear the devotees are to him. Yes, Sadava Hritayam Tvayam. So this is a very, very wonderful verse. Very, actually, lots could be said about it. Yeah, devotees are always in my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the devotees. The devotees don't know anything else but me, and I also cannot forget the devotees. So very intimate relationship. But any specific points you want to bring out from here other than this? So there's quite a kind of a couple of paragraphs by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, which I could read a little here.
Yeah.
If we like. But any questions on this? So magnanimous, all these are magnanimous. Yeah. So it's interesting because the first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, second verse, dharma pachitta kataiva trapanamoni matsaranam satam. And Jiva Goswami mentions there that any other motivation other than pure devotion, then one is called a cheater. So in that context, anyone who approaches God for something in return, but something material in return, then they're not going to understand. Bhagavatam is not meant for them. Bhagavatam speaks about pure devotional service, but here, as they mentioned in another context, here they're magnanimous because they're coming to Krishna. Yeah.
I was thinking like, Krishna says to the degree one surrenders, to that degree he reciprocates. So whatever mood you surrendering to, whichever mood you go into Krishna, Krishna is going to, you're magnanimous because you at least approaching Krishna.
Yeah.
Demigods or anything like that. And then I was connecting it with, because I just come back from Vrindavan, I was connecting on the other side, how, just a little story, how it was Sanatana Goswami's appearance there, and Rupa Goswami wanted to make a feast at Tekadamba. So how Radharani comes with this pot of kheer, so he gets very annoyed with Rupa Goswami.
For accepting service from Radha. Yeah.
Yeah. So like two angles to, I was just looking at one side and what we should be aiming to be at.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that make sense? I was just thinking how the other one is about the tiger sitting there rather than it comes with the whale. So this was in my head because I came from there. So what we're aiming for is to serve, not take from them.
Yeah, very good point. It's a quite amazing pastime because you might think from one perspective, if once they realize that Radha had came personally to them, they might get all, we could go, oh, wow, ecstatic, Radharani came. She actually gave them. But instead, who is it? Sanatana Goswami was, then he was chastising Rupa Goswami. What are you doing? You've, engaging, Radharani's engaging in your service, we should be serving. It's a very good example. These are the elevated stages of devotion. Yeah. And here it's described, out of affection, they may ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. So here's an example of someone, he wasn't asking for material benefits, but he got material benefits.
Krishna's friend, what was his friend? He went with a palm full of rice. His wife sent him.
Yeah, Sudama Brahmana, is that it?
Yeah, Sudama
Brahmana. Yeah.
His house was like, he didn't ask for anything.
Yeah. But sometimes it's seen, sometimes we may have experienced ourselves, or we may know of devotees as well. They may be desirous of something and they get it. And because they're devoted, they become very much, it gives them faith in Krishna. They become very out of affection that Aswalas, they become very satisfied. Yeah, that Krishna is taking care of me. Yeah, and it gives them faith in the process of devotional service. Yeah, even they may not have verbally asked the Lord for this particular material desire, but it may be in their heart. So Krishna is situated within our heart, and he knows what we need, or perhaps even what we want. But Krishna will not give us something, as we know, which will cause us to forget him. Yeah. There's a verse that describes that Krishna fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him in that way. Yeah. But he doesn't, he feels it, but he doesn't fulfill the desire in such a way that will cause them to forget him. Actually, they forget the material desire. And something like that. I'll have to revisit the verse, but the verses are basically like that Krishna fulfills the material desires of one approaches him with such desires, but he will not continually fulfill the same material desires if it's going to take them away from devotion. Anyway, a bit complicated. But any questions on that?
Is this only for material desires? Also, what about devotees who desire have spiritual desires?
Well, that's another subject. Yeah, I was speaking about just about material desires. So yeah, I mean that's the idea, is that we're supposed to develop spiritual desires. Yeah.
Like I'll just because I've just come. Like many years ago, I wanted to do Raj Mandal Parikram, and my sick husband, I can't go. 6:30 is when the buses leave, and that's when I feel, wish I could go. You can't. And then after so many years, Krishna just like Radharani made all the arrangements for me to go to all these 12 forests and do the Raj Mandal Parikram, like in a car, really, but devotees. But you see, that's like spiritual desire, how Krishna fulfills your desires that were years ago, and then your faith, like how much arrangements are there only made, so you then become even more want to surrender to the process. Yeah,
that's very good. Yeah.
Just a realization, like,
Yeah. Yes. So there's a time for our spiritual aspirations to be fulfilled. Yeah, there's a time for it. Yeah. But Krishna takes note, and Krishna will make arrangement. Yeah. There's one devotee one time, I was on book distribution. He's a sannyasi now. Well, he was a sannyasi then. Vraha Maharaj, you might know him. He's a tall New York. He comes from New York, tall, African-bodied. He's a Gaudiya Mat devotee, but very friendly to ISKCON. And he came up to me on book distribution. He's quite very emphatically, he said to me, Krishna will fulfill all your desires. He said it 3 times. Krishna will fulfill all your desires, all your spiritual desires. It sounded like something had happened to him, and he was quite overwhelmed when he was telling me. And I still remember it to this day. But Krishna will fulfill it when the time is right. Yeah. So here Mother Chandravali is given an example how she always had that desire, but due to her dharma at the time, she wasn't able to do that. But then things change, and yeah. All right. Any other questions from here? Let me read just one paragraph here. I think it's quite interesting from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Then are the 3 kinds of worshippers, beginning with the distressed, not dear to you? So that's the question to preempt this verse. Then that Krishna says, that's the way Vishwanath does that. He gives a commentary on the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So he says, that's not the case at all, says the Lord. Those who worship me, taking something they want from me, which I was prepared to give them anyway, are very dear to me. Right? They are giving so much to satisfy me, and I am very affectionate to my devotees. So they're devotees. Even if they have material desires, they are devotees. The Jnani, however, back to the previous verse, is like my own self. While worshipping me, he does not hanker for any benefit, neither heaven or liberation or anything else. Therefore, in my opinion, the Jnani is myself, and I am become subordinate to him. The implied idea is, I accept him as my very self because he has concluded that I, in the form of Shama Sundara and the supreme goal, not dissolution in the formless identity of Brahman. So he's not a Brahmavadi, he's not a Mayavadi. In this way, the Jnani, by possessing bhakti that predominates over the tendencies and is devoid of ulterior motive, comes to be considered by the Bhakta Vatsala. So, anyone knows what Bhakta Vatsala means?
Friend of the devotee.
Friend of the devotee.
Bhakta Vatsala, yeah. As his own self. But the devotee whose devotion is completely pure, who has no other desires at all, except spiritual desires. Yeah, it's not possible to have no desire, but it is only have desires to please Krishna. But the devotee whose devotion is completely pure, who has no other desires at all, the Lord considers even greater than his own self. And then there's a verse on the 11th canto, my dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Shankarshan, the goddess of fortune, nor indeed my own self, is as dear to me as you are. So there's a very sweet, wonderful relationship between Krishna and his devotee. Welcome, Mother Nitai Mata, Hare Krishna. Okay.
Krishna Prabhu. Thank
Hari
you.
Bol.
Sorry, internet is a problem. Delayed.
No problem here in India. All right. Let's read. This is the next verse is, I guess all these verses are well known, but this is one you would hear Prabhupada quote often. Let's see if there's preempt. Okay. So preempt to this verse is, how long has it taken the Jnani? No, so the Jnani is not the speculative Jnani, but someone in knowledge of Krishna. How long is it taken to achieve that level of devotion? So as we're going to read, it doesn't happen like suddenly overnight. Yeah. Okay, let's read number 19.
This one, because
Go
I
ahead.
was one of the ones that we studied. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarva itim mad sa mahatma sudulabha. Translation. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Purport. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that he is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter, verses 14 and 15 of the Svetaswara Upanishad. Okay. That's it.
Tasashesha Purushaha Shushaksha Pat. Oh,
Yeah.
Sabomim Bishato Vitvat Atyat Distatu Sangulam Purusham Evadagam Savam Yat Bhutat Yat Chet Bhuyam Yam Umrumutatashiv Shanaho Yatanena Tarohati. Very similar to these Purusha Shukta.
Yeah, you said it like that.
Yeah, that's how I know it. Go on.
In the Chandogya Upanishad 5.1.15, it is said, Na vai vachona.
Are we reading from the right place?
Yeah, is it,
Go on. Yeah, sorry.
can you read that bit?
This verse is nice, very nicely explained in the third chapter, 14-15 of the Sri Tashvatara Upanishad. Then you can continue reading.
Yeah, but at the back is also a big line of Sanskrit. In
No,
the
you just read the English. Lord
yeah,
Vishnu, yeah, on the screen.
it is said, in the body of the living being, neither the power to speak nor the power to
Oh,
see.
that's not here. Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's not, you don't have.
No, we don't have that here.
Okay. Shall I read it anyway, right?
Yeah, read it anyway. Yeah, why not?
In
Yeah.
the body of the living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to
Oh,
think
let's see.
is the prime factor. It is life which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. In this body, there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge of Bhagavad Gita 7:17 and 11:40.
Yeah, what's missing from your edition there is the translation to the verse here.
Oh,
Lord
yes.
Vishnu has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, thousands of feet, entirely encompassing the whole universe. He still exists beyond it by a 10 fingers breadth. He is in fact this entire universe. He is all that was and all that will be. He is the Lord of immortality and all that is nourished by food. And then you was reading. So this edition here that was probably, yeah, it's been included, the translation.
So
All right.
what's the universal form, isn't it?
Sorry?
Universal form. Thousands of heads, thousands of mouths.
Yeah, this is referring to the Purusha Shukta, to the he is the creation. So then the creation is used in a sacrifice to him. So he gives the ingredients for the universe, and then the things in the universe are given to him as a sacrifice. Yeah. Basically. But why is the verse is quoted? Oh yes, because here he is the cause of all causes and all that is. Vasudeva samam iti. Vasudeva is everything. So this verse is elaborating on this fact that Vasudeva savam iti. Yeah, so someone who's in knowledge realizes this. So it comes after many births. It describes it. Bhavanam janmanan ante. Yeah. One is blessed with divya gyan and surrenders to Krishna.
Just a quick question here, though.
Yeah.
So when that person comes to that stage, Bhavanam janmanan, so then does he see the Vasudeva form, the universal form with time? Because here he says, thus he thinks everything right, such a universal vision of Vasudeva, that sentence. So and then see and then makes advancement on.
Yeah, generally you're going to see when it's descriptions of the Lord's omnipotence and omnipresence, you're going to see verses quoted in relationship to Vishnu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for a devotee of Krishna, he understands Krishna is a source of Vishnu. everything is coming from Krishna. As also as Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? What's that verse? Aham savarsha pabhavo mata savam bhavatite iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvita. So for a devotee, for a bhakta, a devotee of Krishna, then they appreciate as everything is emanating from Krishna. So that infuses and inspires them to surrender and meditate upon and chant the holy name of Krishna. But when there's descriptions of the universal form, generally it's going to be, as you can right imagine, it's going to refer to Vishnu, because that's how Krishna does pervade the universe, by his Vishnu expansion. So you have Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kishoradakshaya Vishnu, etc. The different Purusha avatars, etc., which are all coming from Vishnu, and Vishnu is coming from Krishna. There's some differences of opinion there, but we say everything comes from Krishna. All right. Any other questions here? There's a few things I saw in the purple, but I just read. Yeah, in the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. Yeah. So there is a tendency for one who is seeking knowledge of absolute, they kind of correctly conclude that there is no substance here in this world. It is all illusory. It is all pointless. Yeah, they kind of have an existential crisis because they've had no knowledge about personalism or actual spiritual life as described here. The tendency often is to turn towards an impersonal understanding of the absolute, just because they're disgusted with the material world. They're disgusted with all names, all forms, everything. So for them, that the supreme is nothing, is impersonal. They may be attracted. Yeah. So that sometimes that happens. But when they're further advanced by the grace of a devotee, then they engage in loving devotional service. Yeah. One can understand Lord Krishna's mercy is everything. And he is the cause of all causes. Yeah. That's what we understand, isn't it? Krishna's mercy is everything for us. Yeah, we are completely dependent upon his grace and mercy. Let me just look here. Surrender unto me. Any questions here? Oh, it's just hit 7. Let me just look. Yeah, I've got to jump on my bike in a minute and go over to my Guru Maharaj, who is reading the Vidagdha Madhava.
Yeah, I've been listening to that. It's really...
So some of you might be listening to that. He's reading Vidagdha Madhava. That's going to take place in about 20 minutes. I've got to get on my bike.
I'll hear the recording later.
Yeah, you can. I have to bike in the dark with no lights on the bike and no lights on the road, on the Indian road. So wish me luck. All right, perhaps we'll stop there.